summer, fall. So you would have to have your coursework done either by December or the spring before the summer that you are going to start the program. If you are a graduate of our program, you have up to 5 years from the date of graduation whereby you can apply to the coordinated portion or the internship portion of our program. So you have that. I'm going to kind of, when I go through here, there's a couple slides in here that are similar to what we all are looking for when you write your narratives, whether you are a master's or a bachelor student. Master students, there have been some changes, but pretty much master students are going out in spring and summer. I'm not sure at this point if you're going to be going out all 3 semesters, but I know that there are applications that I will get this November and I will get in February for the master's program. Again, these are 2 semesters. These are chucker blocked. Now, I cannot tell you not to get married, go on vacation, have a baby, but let me tell you, it makes it very challenging because you have got to do 1,200 hours of supervised practice. That is a requirement now of CATIE, the Commission on Accreditation for Dietetic Education. So in January, you will be doing 1,200 hours. My interns right now are doing 1,166 hours. So I have had to show, since this change, how we have actively progressed towards the 1,200 hours. In any internship or a program like mine, you are going to see, when you look at the program, an emphasis area. Have any of you seen that? All right, this is a new, can you bring up the web? And I'll show it to them, because some students are getting really confused with this. All right, with the new changes, go under ebright.org. I'm going to let you go in underneath. Did you get more? I don't remember my. All right, while we're trying to figure that out, with the new changes in the educational standards set forth by CATIE, all programs, as they come up to their next documentation, what that means is, in 2007, we had a site visit. That meant CATIE came down here. I had 3 reviewers who identify our program and give us accreditation. We received 10 years of accreditation, which is the longest that you can get. Midpoint, at 5 years, I have to write what is called a performance assessment report. That's the midpoint document, which is the process I am doing. At that point, I had to identify an emphasis area. Okay, 594-800 Greenwood. No, password. By the way, this, anybody a member of, student member? Okay, you know the number that you have? That will be a registration number. You're just going to put an R in front of it when you pass. Logan? Yeah, so you can tell how old I am. 598-400, I'm sorry. And that's actually, when you get out there, you kind of figure out when people graduated based on their RD numbers. At least oldie goodies like me, oh, you came out before me. Okay, I need you to go to go down, scroll all the way down to CATIE. Up, to the bottom, Keep going, there you go. CATIE, you're going into different sites because you're coming under me right here. Yeah. You guys don't have access to as much as I do. Okay, accredited programs, right here, honey. Amazing, I know how to do this, isn't it? I know those who have me know I don't know. I'm not computer savvy. Okay, I need you to come down. Okay, scroll on down. Just pick all states and you go. Alright, scroll on down slowly so I can find an emphasis area. Go ahead. Up. Okay, here we go. When you start looking at internships are going to be listed by state. Let's say somebody wants to go up to Alaska, and you're looking at the University of Alaska. They have an emphasis area here, and it's Alaskan Native Culture. culture and healthcare delivery system. Every program at accreditation or midpoint has to do an emphasis area. What it means is there is a laundry list of competencies that I am required to give you in the internship. But in the emphasis area, I must write 2 additional competencies that focus you more towards the emphasis area. So it gives you an opportunity of a stronger concentration in my area of emphasis. If you look at our program says research. Master students, don't panic, you're not doing another research project. Undergrads, you're not doing another Dr. Campa paper. What you will be doing is when you are out in the field, those who have had me know what performance improvement is. Performance improvement is identifying a problem and developing a strategy or methodology to its solution. That is going to be a professional practice paper. You will be doing these when you are out there working, and that's the research you're going to find in community food service or clinical. You are going to identify a performance improvement opportunity, and you are going to have to do from start to finish. So if you haven't had me, you don't know what action plans are. If you have had me, you're just going to increase, but you're now going to be doing it for a department. So you're going to have to look at not only the department, but how it affects the entire operation in or hospital. And you look at it from a year from now, how it will affect 5 years from now. So when we say research, you're really going to be doing a professional practice type of performance improvement. Okay, going back, hit the arrow, yeah. I want to show you distant learnings. Okay, go ahead, have one more.
I also wanted to add that as a student, you can also look at the different internships all over.
Yeah, and if they're not mistaken, okay, going down, hun, back to go, oh no, go back here, go back into accredited programs, I want distant learning. All right, so that's what our program looks like. There are what are called distant learning programs. Do not dismiss distant learning programs. What that means is you live here in Miami and you apply to the University of Northern Colorado and you are accepted into their distant learning program. That means they are managing, the program director is there at the University of Northern Colorado, but you are doing your rotations here in your city. What you have to do, okay, roll on down, honey. Yeah, internships. Then go. You know, the first box will say distant learning programs. Yes. You have to do this box, honey. Right there. Yeah. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. All right. This is a listing of the distant learning internship programs. There's about 7 or 8 of them out there. What it means is let's go to, keep on going. All right, let's go to University of Northern Colorado. I just spoke with Dr. Klein. You would download her application. The difference is she's in Northern Colorado and you're here in Miami. You need to help her find site locations for you. So you would then go to maybe a hospital close to your home, talk to the clinical manager, and ask, would you sponsor me for my clinical rotation? Which means the clinical manager is going to look at the competencies that every internship has to demonstrate. There are no differences. And say, sure, I'll do your clinical rotation. She signs a little piece of paper that is part of that application packet. If you're smart and you went to a hospital, you'd probably go to the food service director and ask if you could do food service there. And he'll say sure, he or she will say sure. For community, there are specific requirements that all programs have to offer. All programs have to give a WIC. All programs have to do something with school food service. The community may be a little more challenging because you're going to have to go out and find more sites. Then you submit all the paperwork in. If you are accepted and well, yeah, no, one of them takes 120, I don't remember which one it is. If you are accepted, you are doing your internship through the University of Northern Colorado. However, your site locations are here. To it, there's some real advantages to the distant learning. Actually, there it is, Iowa State takes 120 students. That's a lot. The advantage, this is actually how I did my internship. It wasn't called this back 30 years ago when I was doing this, but I had to finish my master's degree because that was the route I went towards registration. And then I had to find the sites whereby I would be doing my internship rotations. So I'm very familiar with what you have to do. It is as qualified of an internship as if you're sitting in front of me or another program director. The one thing about distant learning programs, they have mastered part-time. We can't seem to figure out how to do part-time internships. But the distant learnings have mastered part-time, and they are designed for the working student. You will do approximately 20 to 24 hours of internship each week, and then you have time for working. And you'll find that a lot of more mature students, students who have families, students who have to work, find these distant learning internships part-time very workable to their schedules. Now, if you're doing it part-time, it's probably going to take you about 13 to 15 months. Most internships are 9 months to a year. Part-time is going to add some additional length because you're only doing it on a part-time basis. But don't dismiss distant learnings, not at all.
With the distant learning, as far as like finding your own sites, do you have to do that before you get
Yes.
computer matched?
You are going to have to download this application, and when you send it, I'm going to go through D&D Digital to explain the matching process with you. You're going to have all that paperwork go in at the time of the application. Now, if, for example, you decided I was a clinical manager at a hospital and I said yes, and then I changed my mind and said, no, by the way, I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to work with you, I can't, my staff is short, I got joint commission coming. Your program director is going to also help you. They don't leave you out there floundering. Remember, they're keeping a list of places in each of the cities that they have students where they have placed, and so they'll start talking. I'll share with you that I compete strongly in this area with Eastern Michigan Distant Learning Program and Sodexo Distant Learning Program. They are taking spots that some of my preceptors have always reserved for us. So distant learnings are becoming very, very popular, and don't dismiss them. An internship's an internship.
So you have to enroll in the school, or is this just only for the internship?
No, you have tuition you have to pay.
While you're doing the internship?
Yeah, you have to pay.
that
You
for
pay
it.
me for the internship. You do it in credit hours. You're paying them.
Is there a reason why, like, they offer 120 spots and
That's how they have arranged it, and that's how they have been accredited by Katie. Now, they're all over North America, and usually with distant learning programs, they bring you to one central location. You may have to spend a week at Iowa State because there is coursework in the internship as well as with what I have to do with students. There are assignments. You come all together, you get slam dunk to all the coursework that you have to complete, you meet your group and say goodbye. And then you will be in your area doing the internship. So don't dismiss them. This is just kind of a modern version of the route that I went. You have a couple other professors that went this route too down our fall because it was the option that we had. Any other questions on this? Just on
Here it says program length will be 6 months. How
Well-
do we do that with if we want to work at the same time?
you can't. It says full-time. You have to find
Oh,
a
that would be
program
it.
that is part-time.
Got it.
You have, Sodexo has a part-time option. Roll on up to Massachusetts then. No, I'm sorry. I want it up. Yeah, I want Massachusetts
You want it
down.
down.
All right. I want, state of Massachusetts, find me Massachusetts. There we go. All right, Dr. Barbara Woodland, I know her very well, as loud and obnoxious as I can be. She is very quiet and subdued. She has a full-time and a part-time option. Dr. Barbara Woodland of the Distant Learning is the only distant learning that will allow you to do 25% of your internship overseas. There is international, now you don't get to pick and choose where you're going. It's where she has affiliations. But she has 25%, so it's roughly about 275 hours that you could do overseas if you were interested in her program.
Do scholarships such as Bright Futures cover?
I have
like,
no idea, hon. I know nothing about financial aid or any of that, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'd have to go to like financial aid for that?
I don't get involved with that, hon.
As far as the distance learning, when you go apply, that's why you can just pay your.
Okay, you're so soft-spoken compared to me.
Sorry. As far as the distance learning, when you need to find a site, does that depend on the facility, the service director, or?
Whoever's going to be your preceptor must okay that they are willing to precept you through this specific rotation, because they have to make sure that your competencies are met. And so Dr. Woodland is probably going to give them information, for example, in clinical, what type of assignments, what type of rotations, what type of activities do you need to participate, so that she clearly understands that you have met all the competencies within that domain. Just like for food service and community that I place here, I have a list of activities that I can share with preceptors to say, if you have them do a plate waste study, then that meets this competency, so that in the end, I can show to accreditation you have successfully completed and demonstrated the mastery of these competencies, which is what we all have to do to maintain accreditation. Yes, honey?
So there's no specific accreditation at the hospitals or the,
Joint Commission, mostly all your hospitals will be Joint Commission
and they have to be
accredited.
accredited by them to be able to be a preceptor?
Most of your hospital, yeah, most internships, I look for joint accreditation as well. We all pretty much look for that. And if you don't know Joint Commission, if you're not Joint Commission accredited, Medicare, Medicaid does not have to pay for the services rendered. So if Medicaid's not gonna pay, you just Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it's a financial association. Not only does it say we practice by standards of practice high quality, there's a financial association with being accredited with that volunteer agency. And in today's market, yeah, you can believe most hospitals, long-term care, certain clinics are also being accredited because it's that financial link.
And so they need to have that to be able to precept us?
Yeah, I mean, most hospitals, if they want to get paid, they're going to be Joint Commission accredited, pretty much.
And like, the thing I'm thinking of is like food service or in the schools and if
No, that's different. Schools are not accredited.
Right,
It's
do they have
healthcare.
to be?
No, they're not accredited. Joint Commission is healthcare.
Right.
The schools are not healthcare.
Right,
So you don't have the same accreditation there.
right, so I guess my question is there a specific accreditation that a preceptor has to have in order
In
to be able?
healthcare, probably Joint Commission. Yes.
Okay.
I can put you out in WIC. They're not joint accredited, but they are an accredited site because they are recognized through the federal government. So, and that's partly what my job is and what their job is. But their websites and their applications clearly explain everything to you. And if you don't understand, I have always said my door is open and I will try and help interpret what they're looking for on distant learning. But don't dismiss it. It is an option for you for that.
What if you do your internship in another state or whatever, and you want to live there after?
I have no idea. I guess you pack up and move and go. I don't know.
Like your license.
And I did my internship in Orlando, and then I went overseas. So you know, once the internship is done, and you get what is called a verification statement. That's the little piece of paper that you want. A verification statement can only be signed by the program director. In this facility, I only sign for the DPD and the CP. My signature must be in blue. If it is an original signature, it is not a valid verification statement. After you finish whatever route you went through for that internship, we issue that once you send us a final copy of your transcript. If you do a master's, I need the final copy of the master's transcript. If you do a bachelor's, I need that bachelor's These are part of the accreditation requirements that I have to maintain so that we will have an accredited program. But it's that little verification statement we want. Any internship director will issue that once you have finished. And that's what you give to your boss to say, I'm eligible now to take the RD exam. That's what, and that is required by Joint Commission. That'd be in your file.
And do you know what looks good on an application?
What do you mean what looks good?
When you apply in place?
I'm not understanding your question.
Like when you apply in a program,
Mm-hmm.
what do they look at to accept you?
I've been told that. Anything else? Distant learning?
For the CEP program, you mentioned that after we graduate, you have
Get a
5 years.
After you graduate your curriculum, you
Right.
would have up to 5 years to apply to the coordinated program to complete the internship.
Does that apply also for?
I have no idea. These are all different programs, hon. They're all different programs.
So let's say, you don't have a
Some of you guys have to go to class, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
but then you want to, since you have up to 5 years, you figure.
That's for my program.
Right, I'm talking
Okay.
about your program. Then you figure you'd like to start the master's program.
That's a whole different ball of wax. You gotta go through the graduate office.
No, right, so let's say you get in so you could still apply for the internship while you're in the master's program?
The master, said that I am accredited to take 18 master students.
Oh, right.
But you have to apply. I can only take 18, that doesn't guarantee everybody's gonna get in. I had 67 bachelors apply last year for 18 slots. It's fairly competitive. Okay, let's go through the PowerPoint so I can, because I know some of you have to go to class and I apologize. That's fine. All right, if you are thinking about a dietetic internship, not my program, you don't go through D&D matching with me. But for any internship, you have to go to eatright.org, accredited program, and find the program that you want to go to. You need to remember that DIs are listed by state. So pick your state and take a look at those programs. We've already covered what emphasis areas can be. If a DI says general program, it means they have not come up for accreditation yet. They are not at a point where they are submitting a formal document for review. Once that formal document is submitted, they must have an emphasis area, okay? Go ahead. All right, most DIs are 6 months to 9 months if they are full-time. Some are going longer. DIs do not all pay a stipend. Do you know what a stipend is? Stipend is you get paid for doing the internship. Those are few and far between. The VA hospitals in Tampa and Bay Pine will offer you a stipend. WIC in Pasco County. Clara Lawhead, I have known her for years, started the Pasco County WIC program. You must work for WIC for a year. You can apply to her program. She takes first from her employees. She places students in Pasco, Tampa, Orlando, St. Augustine, West Palm Beach, and Miami counties. And she places 4 students in each area. So while you are doing her internship, you are getting paid. The kicker with Clara Lawhead is if you don't give her a year of service after you finish the internship, you must pay back the stipend. I'll tell you, I had a couple gentlemen up in Tallahassee who went through the WIC program, got that verification statement in hand and said, so long, I'm out of here, and they paid it back as a student loan. She will get her money back if you don't give a year and quit that. But it's a good program. Okay, in my office, I do have 2 volumes of materials on different DIs. As they send me their information, I put it in the book. Okay, nice. All right, pick a DI. Do you have a location you are looking at? Is there an emphasis area that you are looking at? Then you download the application. One of the biggest problems that you will have and why you will not even be considered is if you don't follow directions. If you don't follow the directions on the CP application here, I just put you off in a pile. You've You've got to follow the directions. And it doesn't go good crying to me later, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot. Well, if you forget this, what would you forget out there in the internship? So follow the instructions. All right, mainly what your application packet is certainly going to have is the application form. It is wise that you type it. Remember, I had 67 undergrads last year apply for 8 positions, and 18, and I didn't take all 18 positions. And so you're up against a lot of competition. I had even more graduate students. So make sure your presentation reflects you. So type your application, your letters of recommendation. You need to read what the program is asking for. Some DI programs are going to require that the didactic program director, me, write a letter of recommendation. And if that's the case, then I will be notified that I need to write you a letter of recommendation. Now, let me share with you, in this option, I do have the option to refuse to write a letter of recommendation. You could come to me and I may say, no, I'm sorry, I can't write you a letter of recommendation. And I have that right in the system of D&D Digital to refuse. Now, how do you think a DI director is going to look at that applicant if the DPD director says they won't write a letter? But I do have that option. I have to let you know, I do have that option. And I have refused one student. I just could not write a letter of recommendation for her. I just couldn't do it, so I refused. You need to do a resume, and this resume really needs to set you out. And my management group learned how to write a resume, and my next management group is going to learn how to write a resume. You don't put, once I did this, and oh, I followed up with. That's not how you write resumes. And resumes like that are just going to go off to the side. You want to emphasize what you did. Use those power words. Use a verb. Fragment. Give me an area of interest where I see what you have done, how it applies to dietetics. If they require an interview, it gives me an opportunity to start a dialogue with you. Some internships do require interviews. So my management group, you're going to learn how to write a resume pretty soon. Aren't they excited? They're thrilled. Letter of intent. This is an official document that a letter of intent will go in with the DI because you are probably still taking classes. You go to Olga. Olga will give you the form to fill out. Olga will print your Panther audit. I will verify that you have met all the requirements to the state, and I sign and say, if all goes well, this student will graduate and be eligible to start your internship at the time of your start date. Again, it has to be signed by me, and this is done through the computer, and then I have to send them a hard copy. This is a document by Katie, which is required for DI. Okay, go ahead. All right, your narrative. This is so important. Let someone else read what you write. I'm going to tell you that when I did my dissertation, I thought I did some darn good writing. But you know what? My mind saw what I wanted to have on that piece of paper. And it always wasn't what I put down. This narrative tells us, why do you want to be a dietitian? Why do you want to do that? What contribution can you give to the profession? Now, word of wise, if what you want to do is get your RD because you want to apply to medical school, but you'll have a job, don't tell me you're going to apply to medical school. Because my DI is to prepare students who really want to practice in dietetics. And that's okay if you want to go to medical school. I think that's wonderful. You want to go to PA school. But you need to tell me, why do you want to be a dietitian? And that is a topic of conversation among DI directors, that unless you want to be a dietitian, why am I putting you in a slot or someone who really wants to practice in the field? So if you have those aspirations, that is wonderful. But don't tell us in the narrative. Tell us why you want to be a dietitian. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this narrative in a minute. You do have to submit official transcripts of all the schools you have attended. Not high school. These are college that you have to. I had some students trying to submit for high school. No, that's not what we're looking for. So if you did a couple classes in one state, moved to another, those couple classes have to come in. Okay. Go ahead. All right. These are the questions in your narrative. And this is pretty much a consensus of program directors like myself, of other DIs. In 3 weeks, I'm actually going to be going up to a KD meeting where I'm going to be, again, interfacing with DIs, and I'm table to table saying, what are you looking for these students? What can I better prepare my students for? So why did you want to enter dietetics? Don't tell us just to be able to teach people how to eat. You know, there are other ways of elaborating that. You discuss the experiences. Now, a lot of applications are going to ask for volunteer experience. When I went to school, I was 27 when I went to college. I had to work and go to school. I didn't have a lot of volunteer time. My working was not in dietetics because it didn't pay me enough to pay my bills. But there are what are called transferable skills. And those transferable skills is what you can talk about. If you're working somewhere and you're doing customer service, you do customer service, client service in dietetics. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about your time management, your organizational skills that you might have. If you have an expertise in something, talk to us about that. But show us how these begin to relate to dietetics. And those skills are equally as important in the practice of dietetics as they are in what you are doing right now. Those are called transferable skills. And we do understand that some of you have worked in other areas, but can you show us how your work experience relates in the preparation to dietetics? Short-term, long-term goals, please don't tell us get done. Long-term, get an internship. I get this. And what impression am I getting of an individual? Not a lot. Not a lot. A short-term goal may be to successfully complete the internship to enter the workplace in the entry-level position. Long-term is to gather the experience and knowledge within dietetics to see if there is an area of specialization or an area, a domain that you may prefer to work in. But don't say, get done, get a job. You have to tell us what are your short-term and long-term goals. And again, don't tell us your long-term goal is to apply to medical school. Because, again, a lot of DIs are going to think you're taking a space from someone who really wants to practice in dietetics. And you will be overlooked. You won't be considered. You know what? Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Not me, but we all do. And it's okay to tell me what your weaknesses are. But you're not going to labor on. It's okay to tell me what your strengths are, but don't tell me you walk on water. I get some students who tell me, you know, when you read it, they walk on water. They're perfect. Well, no, I don't think you are. And quite honestly, for us, we know the students from here who are applying to the coordinated program. And I have my opinion on students, just like you have opinions on faculty. So I'm looking to see, can you do a professional self-assessment? And in the management classes, I talk about self-assessments. From projects that you have done in the summer, my group I have now, you should be doing your own professional self-assessment to show the improvement to the next one. You should constantly, as a professional, be doing your own self-assessment. So tell us what your strengths are. Maybe it's organization. You walk in my office and it's total chaos, but that's an organized chaos. I know where everything is. Don't move my piles. Don't touch anything. So maybe you have good time management skills and you have good organizational skills. And you may highlight that in 1 or 2 sentences for us. Is it okay to tell us that you're scared of the internship? Would you say the word scared? No. What you might say to us is the excitement of taking what you've learned in the classroom and putting it into the workplace. That anticipation of growth. Yeah, you're all scared. You think I wasn't scared when I did my internship? Sure. But don't tell me you're scared, but put it in a different type of vocabulary. Most are going to want you to limit to 1,000 words. So you're being pretty succinct in this. Please have someone else read it. There isn't an internship director or myself who does not correct your spelling, correct your grammar. Because you're going to be doing writing out there, aren't you? So we've got to make sure that you know how to write. So take what you write, take it over to the resource center, and have somebody else read it. Make sure your verb tenses are correct. Make sure you are using adjectives correctly, adverbs correctly. I need a complete sentence. Do not give me run-on sentences, because I will start grading it and cutting it, putting a period, because this is too long of a run-on thought. Have someone else read it. It will set you apart from other applicants. And when you think last year, close to 5,000 students applied for less than 2,000 spots. There is competition out there. So make yourself set apart. So have others read it. Okay.
For your CP application,
It has a page limit. It has a page limit. And I cannot write letters of recommendation, nor will I read your narratives if you are applying to this program. Professor Rivera is on the committee and Dr. Dixon is on the committee. So I will not write a letter of recommendation. How could I? Because I want to see all of you succeed. So I can't do that. All right, in Alda's office, in the middle of October, we will get the new 2012 instructions for applicants for DI program. Not my program. I do not match. I do not go through D&D Digital. You just give me the application and we go through it manually. This is going to list for you all, go to the next one, honey. Somebody scanned this in, and so I don't know how to change that, but it'll be 2012, and what it's going to do, it's going to tell you all the DIs that are actively looking for interns, and it will tell you their code number. It is a 3-digit code number. And once you get into the D&D digital system, you're going to identify internships by that code number. And these we get, or I will get these usually mid-October, and they're in Olga's office. Now, traditionally, most internships start in August. There are some distant learnings that start in June. There is a handful of internships that start in January. This book will give you all the necessary dates when your application needs to be in, when you will be notified, and that notification is you go onto the D&D digital website and it will tell you if you have matched with an internship. All of that is in this booklet. So you need to start, wandering and see if we have it. My current book is aqua color. The newest one will not be aqua. They do different colors because we just pitch them. When I get the new one, I can throw all the old ones away. All right. Go ahead, honey. Here you go, D&D Digital. Now, this is easy to do because I set up the profile. So you know it is easy to figure out because I'm not spiffy. All right, D&D Digital is the computer company that you are going to send your application. Your letters of recommendation will go to, your transcripts, any other pieces of information this internship wants. And they're going to scan it all into the system. And on a set date, it will be dispersed to all of the internships that you have listed by code number. So all the internships that you have applied to will get the information. If an internship is asking for supplemental material, then only the internship asking for this additional information will have access to that. All right, one thing about D&D Digital, you do have a fee, everything's done by credit card. You do have an initial fee for setup. Some internships have application fees, so you may get caught with that. But in D&D Digital, you set up a password once. If you forget the password, it's gonna cost you $50 to go in and reset up the system with a new password. So every time you forget the password, you're gonna have to go in and pay another $50. That's why I do my animals. I can play around in one of them that'll hit. So basically, when you first go into the system, it's going to ask for your demographic information. Go ahead, honey. Okay? So it's going to note your name, blah, 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 where you're going to school, all of that kind of stuff. Then you're going to get to the credit card, and they're going to want that initial application fee. It was $50. Again, it may have gone up. I haven't gone on to D&D yet this year. If you forget your password and you got to establish a new one, it's another $50. And they don't have a site where it says forgot password, where you can go in. They don't have that. They flip you another $50. So it's kind of, write them down. Or do your pets like I do. All right, here's where it gets tricky. Once you decide what internships you are wanting to apply for, you have the new 2012 listing of internships. You rank your internships. You rank, this is my first choice, this is my second, this is my third, this is my fourth. You can apply to as many internships as you want. You are just responsible if there is an application fee to that site. Now, up until the date that is noted in the book, and usually it's around February 15th, for internships that will start in August, you can go in and you can change your ranking if you want. But once that date comes, what you have is set. And D&D Digital will then send all your application information out to the internships. Then the internship directors are going to go through their application process. If you picked the University of Northern Colorado as your first choice, and I picked you as my first choice, we match. And the system will stop all matching. If you picked University of Northern Colorado for your first choice, and I picked you as my third choice, you don't match. So the program will continue to seek out to see if there is a match. And the match is when the DI director goes into D&D and says, this is the ranking that we have listed these potential interns. And that's how the matching process is. Now, some internships have 4 first choice slots, 4 second slots, and so on. But once you match with an internship, it ends. You will not know if you could have matched with another internship. So you don't get to pick and choose and say, oh, hey, I matched with 3 internships. Which one am I going to go to? You match once, and that's the end of the matching. Okay?
What if you don't match with any of them?
Okay, I'm going to get to that. Honey. All right. Yes, honey.
You know how they get multiple first places? We get multiple like first, second, or we just have one first and second.
One first, second, third. Yeah, the internship directors love this because they're not going to have to go through the paperwork. I spend a weekend here just sorting through the paperwork, what applications are complete, what applications here, and then I spend another weekend here grading or evaluating, ranking the interns. This is pretty well done for them. They just kind of scroll through and it's easier. They don't have the paperwork. All right. If you match, the booklet 2012 applicant for DIs will have the date, and usually it's around April 22nd, 23rd, where you can go into their system, D&D Digital. They are on Central Time, so it's 1 o'clock in the morning our time, because it comes out at midnight. And you will go in, and you will see your name, and you will see if you matched or not. I usually stay up and look to see. Because if I know a student is applying, I look to see if that student has matched or not. Now, last year, I had 4 that matched. So that was pretty, I didn't have a lot that applied to outside internship, but I did have 4 that matched. All right, you didn't match, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not gonna tell them that you're going on for EA. All right, or physical therapy, yeah. All right, so what happens is, in this booklet, 2012 applicant for DIs, it is going to tell you, if you can look on the 23rd, if you match, you have 24 hours, not 24 hours and 1 minute, to notify that internship that you are going to take it. If you are 1 minute late, so sad, so sorry, you are out of their program. They give you X amount of time to notify them, and they will tell you how to notify them. Whether it's via email or call, they're gonna tell you how to do that. Then, once all that information, those 24 hours are over with, DIs will go back into D&D Digital and say, I have open slots. And so if students are interested in applying, they can apply to my internship, and we will evaluate to see if we can fill our open slots. So you do have a couple days there where you've got to be on that computer with D&D Digital watching. But I had a student who did not match first time out, wanted to go back to LA. There were a couple internships in LA that did not take all their students, and she went back in and rematched that way and got her internship. Now, if you don't match at all your information that is stored in D&D Digital remains there. So if you wanted to apply for a January start date, the difference is you would go in and just rank the internships that start in January. Mayo Clinic up in Jacksonville has a January start date. So in September, your application would need to be in, and of course it's already in D&D Digital. In November, you will find out if you match up at St. Luke's at Mayo Clinic. So the information stays there. You might have to update it, and that would be mostly with letter of recommendation if an internship wants a specific letter from someone. Yes, ma'am.
So I was gonna ask if you could update during that time to make things better, changes.
Once, you can update until the date that information is sent to the
Or the
internship.
following
Yep,
different-
But you can't update. And don't quote me on it, but I think they keep it for a couple of years. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. You call. These are the nicest people to work with, because I did have a little hiccup when I called and said, oh, okay, I'm Dr. Greenwood and I'm stuck. And they walked me through it as easy as anything, so it is fairly easy if I can do it. Because I was doing a mock, so I went through the process myself, so I could see what it was like. All right, these are your internships. Now, I'm gonna totally confuse you. If you go into coordinated program, for example, in New Jersey, the medical and dental school in New Jersey is a CP program. But they will accept students outside of their program. I only accept FIU students into my CP program. But there are coordinated programs that will accept students from other schools. And so that's another option that you can look at, but they probably are gonna go through D&D Digital. So when you think coordinated, don't think they're all modeled like ours, where we only take our students. There are some who will take from other programs. All right, last piece of information I'm gonna give you, and then I'll be done. If you didn't match, and you have graduated, whether it's a bachelor's or a master's,